What's up, everybody? Welcome back to What the Church Won't Say,
where we have difficult conversations at the foot of the cross.
I am your host, Nathaniel Plenty. Woo! To the right is Ridiculous Nicholas Rendon. To the left is Jose Castro, the revolutionary. Yes, and we have a dope episode of The Lie About Mental Health. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this one, y'all. And we're going to dive right into it. I want to hear from you guys. Mental health is at its peak. Right now, we're hearing about so many people with mental health. I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys think that this is something that's just an epidemic now? Why has it risen? Has it always been there undiagnosed? What's going on?
I'm going to say yes and no.
To which part?
To if it's an epidemic.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes because actually I was talking to one of the brothers from Bible study that the increase on ADHD, has skyrocketed. And it is because like TikTok and, Instagram, the reels, like how videos have become really, really short. And so our attention span is just getting shorter and shorter, which is the definition of ADHD. You are not able to focus for long periods of time.
Right.
Okay. So that's something that has been magnified because of social media, and also I think like more mental problems of depression because you're comparing yourself to the lives of others, which are just pictures. It takes because I've seen it behind the scenes. I've seen some videos that girls will take hundreds of selfies just to get the one perfect one. You know what I mean? Or sometimes they'll go out their way. Like I was watching a video of this Instagram model. They have a place in California that looks like the inside of a private jet, and they charge I think like $100 an hour. So you go in there, it looks like you're in a private jet. But it's
serious? And people are taking pictures inside here, dude.
Yes.
And they paying for the fantasy.
Yes. But they take the picture. It looks like you're in a private jet, like you're living the lifestyle. Meanwhile, you're broke. And the people on the other end of the phone, they are being depressed. They are having this issues of comparing their lives to someone who's living in like a fake reality. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's the yes, right?
Okay.
Now the other part that I was talking about is like I think it's also kind of like a fad, it's just something that's in right now, everyone.
It's a trend.
Yeah, it's a trend. Like everyone.
mental illness is in.
Yeah, no, for real though. For real. Yeah.
Gonorrhea was in the 70s.
And no, but think about it.
I just got an itch.
No, but for real, like HIV. Okay, but let's not go in that
that wasn't
direction. Well, anyways, what I'm
a fad.
No, but it's like everybody likes to talk about like, oh, I gotta take a mental day because I'm breaking down. It's like the issues. Actually, I'm gonna say that here in the United States, life has become more and more comfortable. So I really don't understand where this is coming from. You know what? I take it back.
I do.
I take it back. I know. So for a human being, it is good for a human being to experience hardship. Because it develops you, develops your mental state, your physical state. It causes for you to get more grit, in life. It causes for you to see different. Instead of looking at a problem, you see different opportunities on how to get out of that problem, solution oriented. And I feel like now we live in an age where everything is at our fingertips, We don't have to leave our home to get anything. Like we can order through our phone food, movies, we can date. We can order anything and everything we want through our phone. So there is no difficulty anymore. And I think that human beings are not designed for that. God created us to encounter hardship so that the best can be brought out of us.
That's real, bro. I want to chime in, and what I think is going on with this mental health thing is that people are trying to live life independent of God.
Yes.
When God created us, he had in mind that we would be consulting. we will also be leaning into. We will be actually dealing with our children and divorce and losing our jobs and health, whatever issues with him. Not independent. I don't even think we were created to walk this earth and take everything independent of him. No. And therefore, I think it is leaving strains on the mind. I do believe it's people are handling things that they were not created that's too big for them, and they're trying to handle it, and they're breaking down mentally. And if you think about this, there was a time where people ran to the church. It was a time where people ran to God. It was a time where people wouldn't even think of not going to church, and they didn't have as many mental issues as we had, that we have. However, there's been a change. Everybody think they opinion matters. They think that their ideas are everything, and there's so many people that are simply deceived in all of this. And I think that's probably a big issue in mental health. Now, am I saying that mental health issues don't exist? Of course they exist. Is there some that people were born that way? Absolutely.
Yes, of course.
But I believe that a large amount of this has to do with people trying to do their own thing independent of God.
Another thing I like to add is, like, I think there is it has been exaggerated. Like, for example, we are made up of chemicals, right? Okay. Our brain is made up of chemicals. Dopamine, that's the chemical of happiness is what they call it, right? So, like, you get a dopamine hit when you are doing the things that you like, when you're, like, addicted to something, whether it's a good or bad thing.
Drugs,
right?
sex, whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. So, like, when you don't have the dopamine at the levels that you're used to be happy, of course you're going to be, like, at a mellow state, you know? And I think that a lot of people have confused and, like, not being happy, have confused the ebbs and flows of life with mental health problems. I think, like, they feel sad. Oh my God, I need some therapy.
Right.
Like, dude, that's sadness. Like, it's okay.
It's called life.
Yeah, it's called life.
Right.
Yeah, but I feel like people are just exaggerating, instead of, like, sitting down and saying, okay, well, on one of the past episodes you said, know yourself. It is very important to know yourself so that you can understand how you react to certain situations, okay? And instead of freaking out and saying, oh my God, I'm breaking down, life is crushing me, this and that, like, hey, take a moment. If you're a believer, take a moment, go to the Lord, pray, okay? Because when you pray, you feel that heaviness lifted off of you, worship, and then think on it and say, man, I don't think this is as big as I am making it out to be. Making it seem.
Yes.
And also think long term. Think to yourself, 5 years from now, how is this going to affect me? And most of the time, whatever you're freaking out about at that moment, it's going to be so irrelevant.
I heard somebody say that 99% of the things that we worry about don't even take place.
Yes.
So we have, it makes me think about like a computer. When you fill it with so much information and it starts to clog up the processing power and now it starts moving slower. Yeah. Do you know, I know I've looked at some stuff on my computer. I'm like, why didn't I save that? Why didn't I delete that? Why am I putting that in my, like, stuff from 10 years ago or pictures with people I don't even talk to anymore? Like, my point in all of this is some of the stuff we dwell on shouldn't be occupying space in our mind. And I think God already knew that we was going to fall into being worry worms and give us, like, you know what, let me help you out. Now I'm going to read a verse of scripture with that in mind. It says, whatsoever things are true, not a lie.
True.
Whatever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatever things are good or a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. Let me give you something to dwell on. If you want to chew on something, because you know why? Because he knew that we was going to be chewing or have a nature to want to chew on the opposite.
Yes.
Chew on a problem.
Yes.
Chew on the thing that's holding us back versus the solution.
Yes.
So that's my take on this, man. We can't let the devil occupy space in our mind and we just say, oh, I can't control my thoughts. Yes, you can control your thoughts.
Yes, you can.
Tell yourself what you're going to think about.
Yes.
If you keep throwing up your hands, after a while, your mind is going to run rampant and you're going to be dwelling on things that you're not even into.
Yes.
That's the most craziest things, to have a mind that you have no control on. And we've all been there. But the worst thing is when you sitting there in something that matters. You sitting there at your daughter's recital. You sitting there at her graduation and you can't even be present. You mentally somewhere else worrying about something that you can't change.
Yes, I agree.
That's crazy, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
And that's where we're going. But I think it's an agenda that we can't see.
That's where we're at.
Yeah. I think it's going to get worse than that. I think it's getting worse than that.
Yes.
Because as long as people are having these mental health issues, they're going to continue to get paid off these drugs that they're giving to them. And then I think, now this is going to take it a little bit further. I think it's getting to a place where we're going to say, well, you do have mental issues, so we're going to make some choices for you. We don't trust your choices because we see them trying to take away choice in a lot of different things than they had before.
Yes.
You know, and that would definitely be a disclaimer why you can't make choices.
Yes.
Well, you schizophrenic. Well, you bipolar.
You shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, you
said it.
Right. So, not us. Yeah, so it's definitely a lot of things going on. But I think people don't know that the Bible talked about things that were mental health issues that we don't touch on. And we can look at Luke 8:26. I'm going to go there really quick. I think we've all read this verse before, but I think we don't look at it from that perspective of being a mental health issue. And it's Luke 8:26. I'm sure y'all know this verse. This is the verse of Jesus coming into a particular land. And then there was a man who was possessed by demons. Yeah. And here we go. It says, and when they went forth to the land, there met him out of the city a certain man which had demons a long time. He didn't wear no clothes, neither did he live in a house, but he lived in the tombs. So this man lived in the graveyard. He lived where the dead was. Cemetery. There you go. And when he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell down before him with a loud voice and said, "What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I beseech you, torment me not." For he had commanded the unclean spirits to come out of the man, for oftentimes it caught him, and he was kept bound with chains and in fetters. And he broke the bands and was driven of the devil into the wilderness. Now, can we talk a little bit about that? How often do we say, them crazy people be strong? Do we hear that? We always say that.
Yeah, we do.
But my point in all of this to say is, it is possible that some of these mental health issues, because we have an unchecked mind, because people have become reprobate and they just thinking whatever they want without controlling their mind, a lot of this could be demonic activity in the mind. And you can't drug a demon.
No.
You can't. And I think people is not even perceiving it to be that can be a possibility.
Yes.
So I want to talk just a little bit about what produces demonic activity in a person's life. Let's talk about that really quickly.
I believe that everyone experiences some level of demonic activity in their lives who don't have Christ. Okay. But there are levels to this. So those who continue to go down that path of just continuing to sin and finding new ways of sinning, eventually allow, without them even knowing, they open up their minds and the doors of their soul to be possessed fully, by demons.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, the reason why I want to touch on this, because I feel like people don't even look at that as being an option of what some mental health issues may be. Also, you said sin. You see mental health with King Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel 4:28.
That's good. Yes.
If you ever read that story, really quick for those that never heard it, is King Nebuchadnezzar was ruling the land. He was prideful. He wouldn't give God the glory that God was the one who blessed him to run this land. And in all of that, Daniel tells him basically a day is going to come where God's going to give you the mentality like an animal.
Yes. And
it happened. God touched this man's mind, and this man was a wild man out there in the wild eating grass like an ox. The Bible said his hair had became so long and thick, and his nails was like talons, just out there for years. not a month, years in this state, eating like an animal. If we saw him, hey, we're going to the other side of the street. This was the same dude that was a king.
Yes.
In his pride, because he would not give God his glory, God let his mind go into that state.
And then, all of a sudden, he came to himself.
Yes.
Because God gave it back to him.
Yes. But he came to himself and praised God and gave God his due.
Yeah.
You know.
He said, now I understand.
Exactly. So this is the whole thing. Now I understand you got all of this on lock. All of this. And I think people just don't give God that glory.
Yeah.
And God will let you go into a reprobate mindset. And I want to say reprobate. I know I'm saying that word and a lot of people may not understand. Reprobate is when you live opposite of God. Yes. So what's evil to you, evil to God is good to you. Hurting people bring you joy. Breaking hearts make you gleeful. Like it's the opposite of what God nature is. And nobody's born that way, but sin will take you on this path where it goes from a seared conscience to now you're reprobate, and now you have this heavy demonic activity, and now you're not thinking straight. I would say being reprobate can look like you got some mental health issues. You know what I mean? Like you watch somebody die and you're laughing. Something wrong with you.
Yes.
You off.
Yes.
You off. You know?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, but I think that unfortunately in our culture, it has become taboo to say, there's a possibility of the demonic influence. Yeah. If you say those words, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. And it might be the thing that is affecting you, that is causing you to live a certain way, or be medicated. So yeah.
But they're looking at you crazy because the enemy does his job, because I don't want to bring light to that. I may be the reason why you're thinking the way you do. So I'll need everybody that says it may be demonic to look crazy. I need the truth to look crazy, so you won't even check for me. And as long as he's behind the scenes, he can make you, basically get you to a place where you hurt people or hurt yourself. And that's the whole goal of all of this. Before you realize who Christ is, before you realize what you're called to do. If I can take you out before you realize that and you hurt yourself, I always tell people the enemy does not have power over you. The only thing he can do is get you or deceive you to using your authority to hurt yourself.
Another thing I like to add to this whole mental health thing is that we live in a fallen world, right?
No doubt.
And we are gonna have hardship. Like, I don't know where this idea come from that everything is supposed to be roses and rainbows. What I think about is what Paul said, that he had a thorn in his flesh. It was something that was bothering him, that he prayed to the Lord 3 times and said, please take this away from me. And the Lord said, no, my grace is sufficient, for when you are weak, I am strong. And then Paul went on to say, I am going to boast in all my weaknesses so that the grace of God will be manifest into my life. Right? So I think that, if you are going through some hardship, if you're having some mental battles, learn how to maybe not embrace it, but to deal with it. And not run away from the pain. It's not healthy for us to try to seek comfort right away.
Yeah.
We need to, I really believe that a human being needs to learn how to be comfortable in chaos. How to when you're in the midst of chaos, in the midst of the storm, to stay calm and quiet and observe. You know what I mean? Even if it's a storm in your mind, to stay quiet and observe yourself and see, why am I reacting this way? What triggered me? Or is this just, I'm just going through a season of pain that the Lord has allowed.
And I'll say this, and what you're saying, that we have to keep in mind when you're going through those seasons of trials, your life is chaotic. sometimes doing nothing is everything. Because a lot of things is like these waves that hit us and they just pass if you just can hold on long enough. You know, like we be, I need to do something. Oh my God, give me some medicine.
That's what I'm
just
saying.
Be cool. It'll pass. Life, I mean, like seasons, like natural seasons, they just pass. Winter is coming, but it will pass, and then spring will come, and the summer will come, and I can't go out and sell my house and run to Miami because it's cold out, you know. But I want to throw this out there too, man, because I think you said something earlier. You alluded to it with this social media and the way everything is, where people is making this too important, this virtual world too important. And I'm saying it in this regard because you hear things like virtual bullying. Like they bullying me on social media. Really? Like turn off your phone. Like we can stop the bullying right now. Hand me your phone. Let me help you out. No, it's your lifeline.
Yes.
It didn't got crazy out here, man. Like it is a way to stop the bullying. Like when I was growing up, bullying was real. You got to see this dude every day in school, you know. Yeah. But this stuff right here is nuts to me. In that regard, it's okay to let go of this virtual false reality and hold on to someone that can really do something for your life and change your mindset. Yes. You know, I remember it also makes me think about David. When David was went to the lands of the Philistines, and he was in Ziklag. And while he was in Ziklag, another nation came and they swiped up his wife and his children and all the wife and children of the men that was of David's army. And they came back, and when they realized that their wives and their kids was gone, the men were crying, they was wailing, and they was wilding out. They even thought about stoning David. And the Bible says David had to encourage himself in the Lord. He had nobody. They wanted to stone him. He had to encourage himself. What did that look like? God, you're awesome. You done got me through so many trials, and you're going to get me through this one. I know, Father, there's a solution. I know I can go get my wife. He encouraged himself in God. And I think too often we're waiting on someone else to come in, whether that's our therapist, our friends, and we always got to vent to somebody versus learning how to lean in God's face and his presence to find out who we are and to find our peace in them.
There's a saying that says, instead of running to the phone, run to the throne. You know, run to the Lord to seek help. You know, if you need help, he is there to help you. You know, and like I like what you said about David, that he encouraged himself, but you also can capture that he was sitting on his emotions because he was not doing what his soldiers were doing. You know, the people under him, they were going crazy. You know, the men were going crazy. They wanted to stone him. They were crying. But what did he do? He was like, you know what? I need to like chill for a moment. I need to sit on my emotions. My emotions might be lying to me right now. And I need to...
What you just say? My emotions may be lying to me right now. How you feel is not really a compass of how you are.
There you go.
I think too often how we feel is the determining factor of what's really going on around me, and that's not necessarily true. No. And as long as you are that type of person, the enemy is always going to have an inroad into your life. And that's how I feel about this. I hope we said something to you guys to encourage you to seek God, to give you an idea how the enemy may be using mental health as a way to hide and continue to plant seeds and draw people to a place of destruction. As always, we gonna ask that you crush that like button, hit that subscribe and share this video, and we gonna always be here to say what the church won't say. Till next time, we love you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to What the Church Won't Say,
where we have difficult conversations at the foot of the cross.
I am your host, Nathaniel Plenty.
Woo!
To my right is Ridiculous Nicholas Rendon. To my left is Jose Castro, the Revolutionary. And this is the host of The Most, where I don't know where I was trying to go, but one thing I do know is that back in the day, I used to have flow.
And hose. Now he follows the Holy Ghost.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a nice turn.
Yeah, it is.
Bars, son. Welcome to What the Church Won't Say.
Where we have difficult conversations at the foot of the cross.
I am your host, Nathaniel Plenty. Woo! To the right is Ridiculous Nicholas Rendon. To the left is Jose Castro, the Revolutionary. And we are
Crambo. You remember Crambo?
cornbread ain't heated right. Crambo. If cornbread ain't heated right. Crambo.